Drunk.
On the piss.
Maggot.
Getting on the goon.
Smashed.
Hammered.
Getting f***ed up.
When you're growing up, there are a lot of temptations around drugs and alcohol.
It can be difficult to say no entirely to some of that stuff, but if you are thinking about it or experimenting, then there are some things that you should know.
It's illegal to do drugs in New Zealand, and it's illegal to buy alcohol if you're under 18.
There are some exceptions, like if you're out at a meal with your parents and they buy you a drink. But honestly, the rule of thumb is if you are under 18, then you shouldn't drink without the permission of your parents or your guardian.
So the drinking age in New Zealand, it's 18, right? But you're actually allowed to drink if you're younger than that, if you go to dinner, like with your parents, say, and they get you like a glass of wine, but like who really wants to do that? Like when I was a teenager, I went to Cobb and Co with my mum and dad, and this girl, Julia Morrison, walked in, who I had a crush on, and she saw me with my parents, and she told the whole school the day after, and that's why we had to leave Wellington. So.
I know it might seem annoying or unfair, but basically these rules are in place to help protect you because alcohol and drugs can have an effect on you.
And the most significant thing that alcohol can do is that it can actually affect your behaviour, and you might do something you wouldn't normally do.
It could make you take more risks, make you more emotional or uncoordinated, or cause memory loss.
In the past, when I've been drunk, I believe that I am a better dancer than I probably am.
The point is, drugs and alcohol do affect you.
For me, in high school, I actually chose not to participate in drinking and doing drugs. But I would just kind of go out with my friends and go to parties and, let them make the decisions for themselves. And then I had the car so I could play sober driver, and that sort of dynamic worked for me well because I still felt included, but I also felt that I had an inner strength in being able to choose for myself what was right for me, and I felt quite empowered by that decision. And fortunately for me, most of the people in my social circle were very supportive of that decision.
Everyone knows that hard drugs like meth can really mess you up.
And inhaling stuff can be really dangerous too.
It's important to know that the drugs some people think of as low level or harmless can affect your behaviour and have risks.
Like weed, can make you relaxed, chilled out, but it can also make you very paranoid and anxious, and may even increase the chance of mental illness.
And even make you spew.
So once again, drugs are illegal, but if you're going to use drugs or alcohol, it's important to look after yourself and be as safe as you can.
Sometimes there can be a lot of pressure from your mates to drink and take drugs.
A weird thing that I used to do when I was a kid is I used to just carry like a can of like Watty spaghetti around with me, as opposed to a beer can. And no one used to notice, because if you've got nothing in your hands at a party, people think you're like the weird, creepy guy just wandering around. But if you have a can of spaghetti, then it's hilarious sometimes how few people will notice that that's not a brewski. If that's a bit lame for you, you can just carry a normal can of beer like a normal person, but you don't have to drink much of it at all. And that's something when I was young I used to do. Now I'm a man, I'm very confident in my life and I've got everything figured out. But when I was a young lad, I used to just carry a can of beer for no reason other than just to stop people talking about why I'm not drinking.
If you see someone being pressured to drink when they don't want to or take drugs, stand up for them.
Not all heroes wear tights, except for me. They're super comfy and I look great in them.
So there's this idea that you have to keep up with how drunk or high your mates are, or that you have to drink to get drunk.
There definitely is a lot of pressure on teenagers to participate in doing drugs and drinking. But yeah, it's just important that you are in a situation where you feel comfortable to make the decision that you feel is best for you. And if you're not comfortable, then you should try and get out of that situation.
When I was at school, there was heaps of pressure to drink and party and take drugs and all that sort of thing. But if I could go back in time, I just wish that I could tell myself that you can pace yourself. There's no requirement to do any certain amount of partying. You just do what you want to do.
Have you ever been the only sober person in a group of drunk people? I have. They're really annoying. They're loud, obnoxious, and they always think they're funny. They're kind of like me sober.
The best way to keep yourself safe is to not take drugs or alcohol at all. But if you're going to use either, it's important to know your limits.
I actually didn't start drinking until I was 19. I did find it really hard to know how to drink safely, and so I definitely felt like I should measure my drinking by what other people were drinking, which I guess is kind of like a pressure I put on myself. But then I just worked that out by learning my limits and telling my friends, can you please stop me if I start doing this, and that seemed to work.
Alcohol can make you sick if you drink too much of it or if you drink it too quickly.
Yep, I was one of those teens who believed that I had to drink to get drunk. It wasn't so much because of any peer pressure or whatnot. It was always due to like a restricted amount of time that I had at a party. So I was like, well, while I'm here, I'm going to make the most of it. I have to drink, I have to get drunk because I've only got this amount of time. And I learned quite quickly that when drinking, you need to surround yourself with friends who care about you and will look after you, because if you have stupid ideas like that, then need those friends.
If you're going to consume alcohol, check that you're in a safe environment. Are there any adults you can trust around?
Drink slowly and alternate your drinks with water. It'll help slow you down. Eat some food too.
Did you get your own drink? It's really important you always know exactly what's in your drink, even when you're with your friends.
This is because of drink spiking or being roofied, and that's when someone puts either alcohol or drugs in your drink without you knowing.
If someone does this, they're trying to make you really out of it, and that's not okay.
And it's not okay to add a shot of vodka to your mate's drink without them knowing too.
And if you see that someone's drink has been spiked, pour it out.
If your drink is spiked, it's never your fault. It sucks that you even have to think about it. But as best as you can, make sure you know what's in your drink.
It is important to know that being drunk or high is no excuse for any sexual assault or harassment.
And if you're drunk or high, you can't give consent. If something bad happens to you, it's not your fault.
Alcohol and drugs can affect your decision-making, which is why the law says if you're too drunk or high, people can't give informed consent for sex or sexual activity.
That basically means don't have sex with someone who's really drunk or high. Full stop, end of.
Signs that someone might be out of it and not able to consent would be things like slurring their words, staggering around, falling over, vomiting, or passing out.
If you're unsure about whether or not they're too drunk or high, don't have sex with them or do any sexy stuff with them. Just hold off and look after each other.
I think it's extremely important to have a really good, close group of friends when you go out drinking, wherever that might be, a party or out to town or even just at somebody's house, because sometimes you don't even know what's going to happen, but you go too far and you really need somebody who's going to be there, have your back, look after you, make sure you stay safe and get home safe.
If you see something going down that seems a bit dodgy, step up and do something about it.
Don't be a bystander.
Bystanders are people who see something going on that's not right, and instead of stepping in to stop it, they let it happen.
It's like if I saw someone that dancing in public, I'd step up and tell that person right away that it's unacceptable and inappropriate.
There's this thing called the bystander effect, and basically it means the more people who witness something going wrong, the less likely someone is to step in.
There's lots of reasons for this. It's hard to speak up in a big group. You might assume someone else is going to deal with it. You might not want to cause a scene.
Don't assume someone else has it covered. Step up, but don't put yourself at risk.
Trust your instincts. It's like when you're in class and you have this question to ask, but you think it might be dumb, so you don't ask it. And then someone else asks the exact same question, and then the teacher goes, "Good question." It's just like that. Ask the question.
All you need to do is check in with people. If something seems dodgy, ask them, "Are you okay?"
If you think it's not safe to step in alone, get a friend to go with you.
You don't have to come in hot. You can just ask if everyone's okay or are they having a good time.
Sometimes it's enough that people just know that they're being watched.
If you're in doubt and you don't feel like you can interrupt, call an adult you trust. Or if you're really worried, call the police. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Not being a bystander can help some people out of some really bad situations.
Stepping in can help stop sexual assaults. And you can also help your friends if they're too drunk or high by making sure that they don't drive drunk or get into fights.
Keep your friends safe out there.
And if you're going to drink, know your limits.
And if you're not drinking or doing drugs, that's awesome.
Mates before crates. Nothing for that? All right, I'll see myself out.
Thanks for the real sex talk, New Zealand On Air.